Well, will fatigue play a part? Two teams on the back up, Melbourne United, minus Chris Goulding, and the Brisbane Bullets as well. This is going to be an interesting contest. Some other players are going to have to step up. So when the Sportsbet Same Game Multi appears, Melbourne United on their home floor should be deep enough to cover the loss of their superstar and get the job done. Jack White has been a force on the offensive end and on the glass all season long. And Ian Clark from downtown, we know he's a great shooter. He comes off the bench, he starts, he does whatever he wants, he does whatever the team needs. Melbourne to get it done and those guys to do their thing.
What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.
Dellavedova from outside, knocks it down.
Bannon stepping back. That is tough.
Clark shooting the lights out.
Marcus Lee runs the floor and is rewarded. Wow. Bateman.
Good Lord. That is Reed. James Bateman. There's White crashing the offensive glass.
Gives it up to Norton.
Who knocks down another one?
It's basketball gold. Harrison takes it at home. And he rumbles all the way down.
Nearly flies to the other end. Jack White's been flying his entire career.
Hello and welcome to John Cain Arena. The Melbourne Sports Precinct is packed. The basketball's on, the Wiggles are down the road. We got enough clowns in the building with Gazy and Rucker. But the game is about to take place. Melbourne United and the Brisbane Bullets United. They are the benchmark of the competition right now. The Brisbane Bullets, well, if they want to be playing basketball in late February, they need to start taking scalps and they need to start now. Andrew Gaze, Derek Rucker. It is a great day to be in Melbourne right now, but the Bullets, well, they've lost 12 straight against United.
That's not good, Felix. That's a bad stat to have. But I guess statistically, they are due. In fact, overdue. As you look at that ladder, you can see how tight the competition is. This is a really intriguing game because if you just look at the raw data, there are a lot of similarities. We've got two teams that love to shoot the ball and shooting it well from the three-point line. Both teams are really good on the glass. And it's really just the defense of the Brisbane Bullets that separates the very best team in the competition to a team that's battling to get into that top six.
Well, Melbourne United want to keep their hot streak going. They've won 7 out of 8. We know how tough they are here at John Cain Arena, but they want to establish themselves as the clear-cut best team in the competition before the Christmas break. Brisbane, they've got to get it going. They've won some games, Drew, but I haven't been convinced. They need to beat somebody like Melbourne United right here, today.
They're certainly up against it because that man right there, Dean Beckham, and not only have United won 12 games in a row against Brisbane, but whenever he comes up against a former pupil like Justin Schuller, he usually likes to show a bit of dominance.
Well, that's right, and I think it's always a good matchup when you've got a guy you're coaching against you. You want to make sure who's still the big boss in town, but Dean Beckham has done a great job of not only coaching his team, but cultivating a lot of that other coaching talent along the journey.
Well, one of the surprise factors for United, the only player to start every game for them, Roblo. He was retired last year. Melbourne United brought him back. He's having a career year.
Well, Felix, he started off the season in more of an enforcer's role. He was doing a lot of thug life on the basketball court, but lately, Andrew, it looks like he's found his rhythm. He's shooting the ball really well. He's realized the need for him to provide scoring punch, especially when they have injuries, they have absences in the lineup.
Well, you only have to look at Jack White's reaction when the big fella went up and stuffed it. I'm not quite sure it was in the hellacious category.
It was good.
For Rob Lowe in traffic to do that. 53% from the field, 40% from the three-point line. For a guy, there was a lot of eyebrows raised when they signed him, but he's done a terrific job and fitted in magnificently with Dean Beckham's system.
Another person who eyebrows are raised upon their signature was Casey Prather, and it's taken a while, but he looks like he's finally hitting his stride.
He's a more intelligent player. He's a strong guy. He's an inside-outside threat. And Drew, no one really anticipated this type of productivity from Casey. He's gone for 30-plus in back-to-back games. He was outstanding the other night against Adelaide in shooting them out of the Brisbane Entertainment Center. Can he do it tonight against this Melbourne defensive lineup? Remains to be seen.
Well, that's true, and anytime you're coming off a hot streak, back-to-back 30-point games, that's rare in this league, and he's done it at a very good clip, shooting the ball really well. And this fella, Tyrell Harrison, Derek, he's going to have a big game. He's a walking double-double, around 15 points and 10 boards a game.
He's been a shining light. Now, Marcus Lee's a man of few words, but it's time for Harvey Norman in the zone. He's mic'd up for us.
Whitey, hurry up. I got 2 minutes. Thanks, buddy. Love you. Over all the coaches. Oh. Coming down, Robbie, low. Woo! Oh, I like that one. Good job. Oh! Let's go low. Let's go low. Yeah, I'll take it. Go low.
Well, it's time to tip this one off. Take it away, Jack Everett.
Thank you very much, Felix. Great to be with you for Sunday Hoops here in the Hungry Jacks NBL. We are just about ready to rock and roll. Melbourne United dominate when these two teams get together. 12 in a row. This Brisbane Bullets team searching for some answers and trying to find a way to beat the ladder leaders, Andrew Gaze, Derek Rucker. Great to see both of you.
Well, great to see you, Jack, and a great Sunday afternoon. This is going to be a really interesting contest.
Now the Bullets in possession first. They've won 2 of their last 3. And a win on Friday night against Adelaide, a win against Perth as well. This is a whole different challenge as they take on the ladder leaders. Tyrell Harrison, as Gazy said, looms large this afternoon for the Bullets.
He's an incredible presence, establishing himself as one of the better big men in the competition. And you saw it on display right there around the rim. Very, very efficient. And he does a good job of protecting the rim at this end of the floor as well.
Rob Lowe, career best form. At 33 years of age, the retirement tour has been good for Rob Lowe.
Right on time. Gets a great look from the corner, knocks down the 3-ball. Drewy, Brisbane have to be more resistant with their defense as Cook pulls up for a mid-range jumper, but they're not going to be able to trade buckets and get out of here with the victory this afternoon.
Gee, Telly, that's an example of what you're talking about, Derek, the ease in which Melbourne United can score. And Brisbane, well, they give up more points to an opponent than any other team in the competition, so clearly they need some work. And there was an interesting Dirk Nowitzki type impersonation by Casey Prather.
Not quite the same execution. Rob Lowe catch and shoot, back-to-back threes.
Right away.
25 on 10 of 16 on Thursday. He picks up from where he left off.
Justin Schuler not willing to wait around, Andrew, and hope the next one is better. Lowe gets a great look to start the game, and then Delhi, who's been outstanding, sets it up with the hockey assist. Rob Lowe, 2 of 2 from that side of the floor.
No, I like it, and I like the timeout because that defense looked very porous, albeit a couple of threes from the big fella, but they need to tighten things up at that end of the floor.
Tangerine timeout, 8-4 is the early lead for Melbourne. Pre-game, Tanner Krebs from Melbourne United caught up with their very own Steph Borngo.
Chris Golding today, and obviously love to have him in the side, but do you relish the opportunity to stand up in his absence?
Yeah, super disappointed for Chris. He's been playing at such a high level, and to have this little injury is disappointing to him. I know he'd love to be out here, but yeah, you know, I'm excited to take on this opportunity. Talking to Dean the other day, you know, he didn't, this is what he said. He said, like, you know, we don't need you to be Chris Golding, you need to be Tanner Krebs, and I'm going to try and go out and be the best version of myself.
Well, the last time that Brisbane beat Melbourne was in round 8 of 2020-21. Tanner Krebs was playing for Brisbane back then. That's how long ago it was.
Wow. Yeah, and Rob Lowe, sometimes you just have teams when you see them coming even though the personnel might change, you just love to play against them, and that's the case with Rob Lowe. He scored his career high 30, including 6 3-pointers the last time these two met, as Cook comes down in a rush and splashes the 3-ball.
And that's good for his confidence because he's been down on it lately. Is it going to be one of these games, Jack?
Well, the last 3 weeks, this has been like there's transformation in the way in which teams are playing. Pace of play has improved dramatically, and both these teams in the top half when it comes to pace of play. Melbourne United, I believe at last count, they were number 1.
The Brisbane have scored 5 unanswered points out of the timeout. Whatever Justin Schuler said is working. Jack White drives, draws a foul. The call from Shannon Jennings out there as one of our 3 officials this afternoon with James Gregool and Nico Fernandez. She's one of the best young referees in the country. Great to see her get an opportunity today.
And a big game for both teams. As we mentioned in the opener, Andrew, Brisbane are trying to prove to themselves that.
Oh, gee.
Wow.
Okay. Brisbane are trying to prove to themselves that they are a good team in this competition. I don't really think they have a quality win as of yet. Melbourne United, we know, they're championship pedigree. They're trying to uphold a standard of performance, and they don't want to see any slippage in that level.
There's no doubt that Brisbane, if they're going to make the playoffs, they need to pinch a few of these tough assignments on the road.
Bateman had a 51-point game a couple of weeks ago. Has been a little quiet since then. The persistence of Shea Ely. Melbourne get the ball back. Dellavedova thought about it. Down to Lowe, who's been red hot early. Back out to Krebs. He's unsuccessful.
Drew, I don't like the shape of this Brisbane defense early on. Melbourne United are able to get the ball to areas on the floor that they want. They're dictating terms on that end of the floor. Brisbane need to improve immediately.
Yeah, it puts an enormous amount of pressure on your offense when you just don't have that confidence on the defensive end. It can play into your mindset on the offensive end when you know that you're struggling to get stops.
Shot clock at 9 for Norton. He's falling over and Brisbane cough it up again, and guess who's there waiting for it? Dellavedova, fed low, and he misses from underneath. It's a second opportunity. He's not missing that one.
Rob Lowe, 8 points early on. Deserved the bucket on that one after he blew that bunny.
Keandre Cook, you mentioned his confidence, Derek. He's that sort of player. He's got 7 early on.
And in that import triumvirate, Prather, Bateman, and Cook, we thought Cook was going to be the prime-time performer. Well, it hasn't quite been that consistently as Illy misses a little pull-up, but he's certainly got that level of talent, Keandre Cook.
11 apiece at John Cain Arena. Cook gets to his spot, and this time will be shooting free throws. He's causing some early problems for Melbourne.
Well, he is, and this is something that we've seen a little bit from Dean Vickerman this season. Early on in games, going with some players that you haven't seen a lot of, and Campbell Block's one of them, and he's just checked into the game. Flynn Cameron is not one of them. He has been a solid part of the rotation and shooting the 3-ball really good this season is Flynn Cameron, but to see Campbell Block get some early minutes, that's a little surprising.
He only played 6 games for the season. Only averages 4 minutes a game, Campbell Block. 20-year-old Melburnian. Bullets lead by 2. They've had some issues starting games. They've only won 4 first quarters for the season. Flynn Cameron with the answer.
You cannot go underneath an on-ball screen with him, and there's no hesitation. If he is open, he's going to knock it down. Above 40% from the 3-point line this season.
Hand check, white.
And Dean Vickerman looking somewhat bemused.
Questioning whether they're going to challenge it.
Hello.
Early. Drew, you like this one?
Early on, it's a bit risky. There was maybe a little bit of contact. Now, I think it's one that we wouldn't have been complaining if it hadn't have been called, but technically it might be there. Just watch this action and the push off. He slips, but it's the little...
So they called hands foul first.
On White or on Block? That's where the... Now that technically to me, there was a little bit of contact, but...
It wasn't like he extended aggressively with the right forearm right there.
But there is a contact, so I'd
Rush
like
contact, Drew. I'm not calling that. This Amy coach's challenge will be in favor of...
Go on, say it. Say it. Don't wait to hear in your ear. Coach's challenge is unsuccessful. Scott Butler in the replay centre. Scott?
Good afternoon, gentlemen. So from the baseline camera angle at the opposite end of the floor, which has the referee's vision,
You can actually see the defender put his forearm on the back of Norton. That pushes him down, and then he slips. So the illegal contact is actually before the slip.
Oh, Scotty, I don't know whether pushed him down is the correct terminology.
Well, either way,
made contact.
Either way, they burned the challenge early,
Yeah.
which is a big call. Low catch and shoot. Not that time. He's feeling good, not just today, in the last couple of weeks, Rob Lowe. Here's a wide open Mitch Norton. Great find from Bateman, but Norton left that one short.
And that's something throughout Mitch Norton's career that teams had lived with, in fact, encourage. As we see a foul on Casey Prather. But this season, Mitch Norton, he's been remarkably efficient from the three-point line. And it wide open, he's been knocking those down this season. In fact, he's shooting it almost, well, round up.
Round up, please do.
41% from the three-point line, which is really good.
Cole Bowen into the game. Steph Baumgartner, you were listening to Justin Schuller.
Yeah, he's happy with the competitive start. He says spaced out on the floor, be better on communication and transition.
Cameron had some room to fire. Bowen thought he did the right thing. Not gets the advantage of a teammate, but Norton was there ready and waiting. Harrison no good. Melbourne crashed the glass. Loose ball available. Low releases Campbell block with confidence. How's that from the youngster?
Oh, he's got it like that. Nice move in transition. Gets to his step back game. Impressive move right there by the young blog. And on this end, Andrew, I think Brisbane really need to make it a point of emphasis to attack Rob Lowe.
Prather got Bowen up in the air. Nice moves from the veteran. Lowe came over. Good help deep.
But based on what we're seeing right now with the rotations, you know, I'm not. Ian Clark is. Well, Marcus Lee's about to check in as Delhi can't finish the layup, but Blog making the most of these opportunities with no. And have a look at the Amy replay with no Chris Golding.
And look at the poise and composure. He knew what he was trying to do. Put the defender to sleep a little bit, created separation with the step back, knowing he also has the height and reach advantage, so time is not as much a factor. And now we've got Ian Clark making an appearance in the ball game, coming off of a hip injury.
No appearance for Chris Golding. Out with a calf issue for at least the next couple of weeks. Last Sunday against Sydney. Late in the game, it initially looked like cramp. He certainly thought it was cramp, but the scans told a different story.
And bad timing for Chris Golding. He has been on an absolute tear over the past 7 to 8 weeks. And now he'll have a forced time on the sideline, and Melbourne United keep winning, Andrew. It may not be a bad thing because it would ensure that he's fresh in February, in March.
He's had these moments throughout the last few seasons. It's an ongoing issue.
Nico Fernandez, our senior official, diffused the situation on Friday in Perth by speaking Spanish to Ethan Almanza.
Very versatile. Got that European flavor, Andrew. You spent some time over there. You know what it's like.
Yeah.
How many languages did you learn?
A little bit of a lot of different ones, but mostly profanity that can't be repeated on air.
Bullets trail by 4. 3:41 to play in the opening quarter. Clark, as Derek mentioned, a hip issue, was unavailable on Thursday. He's always so smooth.
We have one of those games, Andrew, where you never see him out of rhythm. Even when he doesn't shoot it well or score well, he's always able to create good opportunities.
Yeah, he's a pro. He's been around a long time, plays at the right tempo.
Foul on Marcus Lee, little nudge in the back.
I think it was actually on Ian Clark.
Sorry, it was Ian Clark.
Yeah.
My apologies, yeah.
On the drive. It was a late call. Let's have a look at the replay. Yeah, it's a good call too. It's a little push. Again, that experience, just trying to get away. He's beaten off the dribble. Wasn't a lot in it. Sorry, Jack, but it's something that I noticed at the Olympic Games and the Intercontinental Cup, where FIBA really encouraged officials. They don't mind if a call is late, provided it's correct. So if you have to swallow the whistle just to let it, check it out and try and analyse in your head in that a second or two, they actually encourage it. And
do you like that?
Yeah, if it means you're going to get it right, I don't have a problem with that.
Derek's very quiet.
Drives me nuts, and that is an absolute foul. And I don't know how Cook is contesting this.
No, shooting.
Right in front of us. Clark comes off of that one. Body, head.
Ticks a lot of boxes.
Yeah, that's won't going to get challenged for that one.
Right now, again, Melbourne United seem very comfortable on the offensive end. And one of the challenges when you go on the road in the NBL is, can you take the home team out of their offensive continuity? Can you make other people score the basketball aside from their main players? And that's the challenge on Brisbane right now.
And that right there is Elijah, a very special young man, a part of Fifi, Fev and Nick in Melbourne's Fox FM. The underdogs earlier this season. He's had an enormous amount of health challenges, was set to undergo some pretty major surgery recently and was unable to because of an infection, but he loves his basketball and he's in the Reebok seats today, which is awesome.
Nice.
And we got a good look at that as James Bateman draws a foul.
A lot of fouls being called. Well, been making a point of it, trying to attack the basket, which I like.
Melbourne United send teams to the free throw line more than any other team in the competition, so they're really aggressive at trying to contest at the rim, and perhaps also an indication that maybe not quite getting into position on some of these drives. But Bateman, of course, had an offensive explosion a couple of weeks ago. A fitty piece.
Correct. That was a short-lived record, Jack. Because the homeboy in Perth is going absolutely crazy right now.
He took that personally, Blascott. Bowen with the offensive rebound, then Clark changed his mind late. Gave the ball back to the Bullets. Bateman in transition. And Marcus Lee got a piece of him.
The only problem is Bateman landed it and just jarred his ankle. Doesn't look in too much distress, just a little uncomfortable.
Right call?
Correct call. And I don't know why Lee felt the need to go after it that aggressively when you've got that type of reach advantage. Just go straight up, Marcus. He knocks down the shot from that deep over the top of you. You got to live with it. Brisbane, this will be 9 free throws for them already.
Rocco Zikarsky's an interesting one too. I think that there was a higher expectations on how he was going to play, and he just checked out of the game only after a very short stint on the floor.
Bateman shooting his second. I'll get back to that in a moment, Drew. Rocco Zikarsky's not part of Heritage Ranks. He's only been around for a minute, but you two have been around for a long time. You can vote for your favourite three-pointer in NBL history by scanning that QR code on your screen right now. I think Jack McVeigh would probably be the leading contender at this point in time. Go back to Rocco, though, Drew. What are you seeing?
Well, he's only played barely 2 minutes on the floor, and he's a trillionaire, 3 trillionaire now, because he's got 2 minutes and all zeros on the stat sheet. So he wasn't involved in that short period of time, as we see Illy with a controlled step back at mid-range. But yeah, he's still, I think, highly regarded as far as an NBA prospect. But probably hasn't had the improvement that a lot of people were hoping for this season, and that can be a combination of system and himself, so I'm not portioning blame anywhere.
It's really interesting, Ruck. You did Friday night the Bullets game against Adelaide with Andrew Bogut, who's one of our greatest ever Australians to do it on the world stage, and he had some really interesting thoughts about what Rocco needs to do to prepare himself for what is potentially coming next in the NBA.
Well, matchups, how you live, how you conduct yourself on a daily basis. But Andrew did make a really good point during the game. And can you match up with other players on the floor other than players that have your similar body profile? So in this game, can Rocco match up, per se, on a Jack White? Can you get out in a switch pick and roll situation and keep the guard in front of you? In the drops, can you play in the right position, but yet be able to contest when the guard goes into the hostage dribble? There's just so many scenarios for that young man to learn, but as long as his attitude is good, he gives himself a chance.
Not out there at the moment. Clint Cameron can't bank that one home. Here's Prey, they're a championship winner at Melbourne United. Nice pass to Harrison, who does the rest.
Great move outside by Prather. Totally froze the defender. Drew, this is a high-scoring game.
It is. We've got a good one going on. Both teams really pushing the tempo and attacking the rim.
Confidence is incredible, Jack. Prather just carving up Melbourne United. And off the back of two 30-plus point performances, he's proving a lot of people, including myself at times, very incorrect.
Bickerman has to turn back to Dellavedova as it tipped in by Lowe. Try and get a bit of leadership out there to finish off the quarter. It's an offensively minded lineup on the floor right now for the Bullets. Isaac White only knows one way. Kicks it out to Prather for three.
Wow. Vastly improved three-point shooter. The stroke always looked good, Andrew, but because he was such a superior athlete then, the focus and emphasis in his performance wasn't there. Now, the body isn't quite the same. The three-point ball is wet.
I'll ponder that. Illy, late in the quarter. Tough jumper, good D from Norton. And we're going to have a tight ball game at quarter time. The highly fancied Melbourne United have got a fight on their hands, 28 apiece. This is Sunday Hoops here in the Hungry Jacks NBL.
I can help a little bit more than I have him. Back, stay on top, stay on top. I want you, Flynn. Hey, Flynn, be more aggressive with that. Hey, no more. Blue, 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 blue. Hey, what we doing? Hey, we're living with those shots. That's great. Bingo!
That's the sounds of the games with thanks to Harvey Norman in the zone. Marcus Lee is our mic'd up player this afternoon. He and Ian Clark just having a conversation about things. Melbourne United have certainly not had this game all their own way in the opening quarter.
Well, surprisingly, they haven't been able to defend well. Cook, Bateman, Prather, and Harrison really had a strong first quarter, and Brisbane with one of their best first quarter performances of this season, Andrew.
Yeah. Oh dear. That's a little too easy to start it off. And Rob Lowe continues just to keep the scoreboard ticking over for him personally. Really efficient game so far. The only miss he's had is that point blank layup.
He's got 12 points and he's averaging the best part of 19 points a game as Prather scores.
They can't stop his penetration, Andrew. And now he's got Melbourne United defenders in the area of doubt land because they don't know whether to get up on him. And if you get up on him, he's strong like we just saw right there. He can withstand contact, and he's savvy enough to understand how to create a good shot for himself.
And I know Casey himself may have a different view, but clearly his body is in better shape now than it was at the start of the season. You can just tell by the movement, the explosiveness, and that translates to confidence, and it's been a really good couple of weeks for him.
Is there a bit of this too, Drewy, that he's had a horrific 3 years, Casey Prather, with knee issues, and one knee in particular. Has he almost had to sort of learn how to move with this new body, if that makes sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. As Cook takes the three, but even when you see him running up the floor, it looks like he runs with a limp. Now, he may not be hurting him, but it just, maybe the mind starts to protect the knee a little bit more. But now it seems like he's got that confidence that he's prepared to push off it hard, and he's getting some results. Everything going right for Lowe. Just puts a hand up, slaps at the ball, and it still drops in.
Well, the hand of God from Maradona just guided that one through. Rebound by Jack White. Competition's leading rebounder heading into round 11. Here's Lowe for three this time. A rare miss for the big man. Illy couldn't keep up with Keandre Cook. Into the corner for Bateman.
Brisbane are shooting it really well. They're 60% from the three-point line. They've got 34 points on just 18 field goal attempts.
Pass from Dellavedova, there's White. Melbourne with the answer, as they so often do.
And here's the thing that Terry just saw Bateman go to his bench and say, hey, I need a sub. He just hit a three.
Right.
If that doesn't give you some energy, and he comes out of the game. Now, I'm sure he's only going to be out for a quick minute or two, but
if I'm the coach, I'm like, no, you're not coming out.
Yeah,
there is no sub.
Right now, he's had 20 seconds as he's out of bounds. Catch your breath.
This is his type of game. It's up and down. There are a lot of shots.
Push from Tyrell Harrison.
Dean Vickerman is going to be irate with this defense.
They continue to trade buckets. Dellavedova unloads a three, and it's Melbourne back by two again. Norton left that one short. United push the tempo. In transition, Dellavedova, back-to-back trebles. Timeout Brisbane. That's the first time in the game so far they've been a little leaky defensively.
And Amy replay, Matthew Dellavedova. He's on a tear shooting the basketball this year, Andrew. It doesn't look orthodox, it's not textbook, but his true shooting percentage is as high as it's ever been in his career. And we know all the other attributes he brings to the table.
Tangerine timeout, 41-36. There are legends in the house, not just the two that I'm sitting with this afternoon, but another basketballing legend who's with Steph Ballgum.
Absolutely. It's not every day you have a 9-time NBA All-Star in the house, but joining me today is George Gervin. George, welcome to Australia. You've just been to Brisbane and now Melbourne. How are you enjoying your time here?
I really love this country. Started off in Brisbane, and now we're here in Melbourne. I really appreciate being here.
You're a part owner of the Brisbane Bullets. What was it about the team and the league that made you want to be a part of it?
This is what it's all about. I am so proud to have an opportunity to be a part of the Brisbane ownership, and I'm looking forward to rebuilding this team and making it what we all want, and that's a championship team.
It's a competitive game today. What are you enjoying most?
It's very competitive. I love competitive basketball. Both teams are playing well, and this is what the fans want to see, so it's a good game so far.
Thank you, George. An absolute pleasure to have you here today.
Thank you, thank you.
Absolutely, it's a pleasure to have the Iceman here.
When you talk about a prolific scorer, go look up George Gervin.
Oh my goodness.
That guy could fill it up. Silky smooth, 6'7", put it on the deck.
That's a good out of a timeout. Norton gets all the way to the rim, but George the Iceman Gervin, and it wasn't like he was blazing away from the three-point line. It was all the little floaters around the rim, and no one had, certainly when I was growing up, had that poster of him sitting on the ice blocks with the two balls.
Well, I didn't see that coming. He's part of the new ownership, or to do with the new ownership group, I should say, George Gervin. So, and he's got a vested interest in the Bullets.
High character, basketball for life type guy, and just great for the league to have him to also serve as some sort of an ambassador unofficially. Pray they're continuing just to slice these guys up. Drew, who's the matchup? I think he's too big for Delhi.
Well, it is, but the way that a lot of the teams are playing, and even in this game, you're getting a lot of switching going on, so they can virtually get whatever matchup they want from time to time. And Prather just knocking down that three ball changes the way you have to guard him, because you've got to be a whole lot tighter to protect that. And he's still got that step and that size that he can get to the rim. So he is a handful when he's in this type of form.
So does that need to become a Ian Clark, Tanner Krebs type matchup?
The thing I like, I think Daly is the one, because he can be so physical. He can really guard bigger bodies.
And also, Andrew, he's going to get more love and leeway from the officials. He's going to be allowed to do things that a Flynn Cameron will not be allowed to do on Prather. You don't agree? Why are you looking like that?
No, it's a little bit. a little bit.
A little bit, but not a lot.
Not a lot, but a little bit.
Bowen can't score. Nice deep from Smith-Milner. Dellavedova almost picked their pocket. Brisbane retain possession. 9th on the table heading into today. Harrison blows past them.
Well, they're shooting at 60%, 61%, and Tyrell Harrison is having his way with them down low. 6 of 7, and that was just way too easy. Marcus Lee almost playing as if trying to avoid a foul. And that's going to be on the pass, as you heard.
But Harrison and Prather spearheaded that victory the other night. And they're doing the same here. They've already combined for 22, and he just shifts Marcus Lee with a little rocker or jab. And then we know what he can do around the rim. He's long, he's over 7 foot, he's athletic, and he's a dunker.
Harrison just came to the bench. Justin Schuler said it'll only be quick. Zakarsky back on the floor. Out there with Cook, Bateman, Norton, and Prather for Brisbane. Clark in the mid-range. It's where he plays best. 43-41 at John Cain Arena. Heritage round with thanks to Mitsubishi. Melbourne with the Victoria emblazoned across the front of their jersey this afternoon.
Wow.
How tough was that from Bateman?
Big time bucket, but you got to be able to knock some of those shots down like that, Andrew. It wasn't a good decision. It's a good decision when you make it.
Yeah, that's right. And good ball movement, but hello! Marcus Lee playing above the rim. That's a couple of times we've seen him on the on-ball situation get burnt at the rim. And need a lot more ball pressure to give yourself a chance to defend those circumstances. And Bateman just drives into the forest and throws it out of bounds.
Here's the Amy replay, Rock.
Melbourne United better than most teams in the world at setting their bigs up for dunks. Great job right there by Clark. Patient. Zakarski overcommits. That ball's over the top.
That play has been there for them all season long, pretty much whenever they want it. His hands from Emmett Naar straight into the game. He strips Marcus Lee. Cook gives it straight back. Clark lays it up.
Some haphazard play there from both teams. Eventually winds up in a Melbourne United bucket. Prather on the attack again.
Points are good with one to come, and Prather has got 12.
It's just way too easy too. He's just powering. He's playing bully ball. Now he's quick, but it's not really explosive. It's just using his body. And there's the left arm, a real slight push off.
But he's hitting him with that pocket dribble outside the three that's standing the defender up, raising his hips, and then he's quick enough now, Andrew, to get his hips by your hips. And then once he's got you on his left hip, it's over.
Yeah, certainly got to think about maybe sending it the other way a little, and send him back to help as Casey Prather gets a rest.
Why?
I guess he's tired.
Tired of scoring, 13 points, a couple of assists.
Shea Ilubi shooting free throws. Just to go back to the substitutions, and this is not a back in your day conversation or anything like that, but is that a change? I'm not suggesting Prather. I'm talking more about Bateman a couple of minutes ago when he signaled to the bench and he needed a sub. Is that a change in world basketball, but particularly this league in the last 5 years? Is players now want that rotation as opposed to not wanting to rotate?
Well, I think it's a combination of a number of things. One is your rosters are really deep. There's a lot of talent and a strong argument that we'd love to have some more teams in the competition. So there's many players that are worthy of some minutes as Krebs lets it fly from the three-point line. But I think it's also, in this game in particular, the pace of play. They're trying to get up and down the floor so quickly. They just need a spell every now and again. And Cook with a shimmy and nothing but the bottom of the net. This is some extraordinary shooting by the Bullets. 65% from the field. They've only taken 7 threes, but they made 4 of them.
And for the most part of the game, the shot selection has been really good. And of course, getting to the line and shooting 15 free throws as Bateman hustles and makes the play.
That was brilliant from Bateman. Threw himself at the ball, kept it alive and enabled Torrey Smith-Milner. That's the desire that Brisbane are playing with today.
And Dean Vickerman has a look on his face like somebody woke him up from a nap.
No, he's not happy. And the turnover and the effort was really good by Bateman, and that's what we need. We've seen it the whole time. And the thing about the Brisbane Bullets that I like, they're not like every other team. They're just coming down and shooting 30-plus threes per game. They're last in three-point field goal attempts, but they're one of the better three-point shooting teams, and they combine that with the play on the rim, and they've already had 15 free throws, 11 of 15 from the field.
Dean Vickerman about to address his charges with their win against New Zealand on Thursday night in New Zealand. Now moves to 8th on the all-time coaching wins here in the Hungry Jacks NBL. And the names that are in front of him, and Dean's got a long way to go in his career, but these are some of the great coaching names in this league's history.
Well, of course, the GOAT, Brian Goorjian, currently head coach of the Sydney Kings, has a clear break on the second greatest coach, Lindsey Gaze, the father of our great one next to us, Andrew Gaze. Joey Wright, Brian Curl, championship winners with the Brisbane Bullets. Alan Black, very underlooked.
Yeah.
Underappreciated in NBL history for his coaching ability and talent. Won championships out in Perth.
Smith-Milner to shoot the extra. It's the Bullets who lead by 2. Reminder, they have lost their last 12 games against Melbourne. Clark levels it up. Apologies, makes it a 1-point game. He's just cruising around and has worked his way to 11 points. Former NBA champion. Bateman with a tough 3.
They're the types of shots you've got to make on a regular basis. Sometimes you just got to shake someone's hand and say too good if they're going to make those.
And we've been in this venue many times where Melbourne United are just playing level with the opposition, and then they go on a burst. They get buckets, they get threes, they get stops, and then a lead goes from 1 or 2 up to 8 or 9, and they totally rip your guts out.
Well, the burst usually comes on the defensive end. That's where it's, because right now you can't question their offense. 50 points at 55%, 7 of 14 from threes. Offensively, they've been exceptional tonight.
Don't forget, of course, the NBL Summer Shootout is here. The Sydney Kings are pretty keen on their chances. They've nominated the Brisbane Bullets on Saturday, January the 4th. You can jump online and try and win yourself $100,000. Who would you have taken, Drew, in the Summer Shootout if you had your choice?
Well, I'd be taking a team that plays at a high pace, and obviously you want to win, but the teams that play the quickest are the ones, and right now Perth seem like one that I'd be, that can change, but gee whiz, they had, what do they have, 111 and lost.
Well, if you're looking up and down that ladder, Clark lets one go. Too much time. He knocks it down. But if you're looking up and down the ladder and you're an NBL team trying to figure out who the mark is and you can't figure it out, that means it's probably you, Andrew.
Harrison muscles in on low. Justin Schuler thought there should have been a bonus free throw. We tick down to the final minute of the first half. 55 apiece. High-scoring, entertaining contest here at John Cain Arena. Harrison with 2 more puts Brisbane back in front.
Wow, tech foul on Justin Schuler. He complained on back-to-back possessions after Harrison has made buckets. And maybe he should have bit his tongue on that one, Andrew, because they've done a really good job in this first half. Both teams backing up, and Brisbane, with limited preparation, looked really good.
Yeah, I think he might have been, based on
what's been allowed,
comparisons of other coaches and what's being done, I think he might have been a little unlucky to get that one blown on him, because
no warning either.
Well, he's complaining about the and one, and it was back-to-back plays, but gee whiz, we've seen a lot more demonstrative things not get teched
today.
Well, in recent times.
Big possession right here from the Bullets. If they can get a stop, then they get into 2-for-1 range.
Krebs, the former Bullet, gets himself into the paint. That's his first points of the afternoon.
Krebs, a classic example of being in the right team that's built for your skill sets. You know, he was solid at Brisbane, but completely different player as far as what he can produce since he's been with Melbourne United.
Shot clock and game clock almost in unison, so Melbourne happy to wind this one all the way down to halftime. Get one meaningful possession. Six on the clock. Krebs with his head down all the way in, can't score. That's out of play with 1.6 remaining.
That's a possession where they missed Chris Golden.
Yeah, they had the mismatch too. They had low down Lowe was down low, and they had Norton on him, and they weren't able to figure out a way to get him the ball.
Emmett now back in. They got 1.6. Now from halfway, was he subbed in for this?
Oh. Nice play execution. Got a good look at it.
57 each at halftime. Nothing, and I mean nothing, separating these two.
Great job by the Brisbane Bullets, executing the game plan, getting the ball to the correct people, and Melbourne United have not been poor at all, Andrew.
No, absolutely. I think it's been a high-scoring game. Both teams shooting it above 54% from the field.
It's a tied ball game, Steph.
I've got James Bateman with me. James, tied at halftime. It's been a very competitive first half. What are you liking about your start?
I just like that we, battling and fighting against the #1 team in the league right now. I just wish we get some more stops and stop them. 57 points is too much. Offensively, though, we're all right. We're happy what we're doing offensively, but it's the defensive end.
Rob Lowe and Ian Clark are scoring well for United. How do you shut them down for the second half?
We just got to stop the offensive rebounds, limit the transition, limit the small mistakes, and keep them off the three-point line. They're killing us on the threes.
Thanks. Good luck.
Thank you.
Stick around. This game is red hot on Sunday afternoon in Melbourne. 57 apiece. You're watching Sunday Hoops here in the Hungry Jacks NBL.
Leroy Loggins
Yes, he's put it away.
My earliest basketball memory is growing up in south side of Baltimore. You know, I go to bed at night and dream about basketball to get me away from the troubles of the community that I lived in. That was sort of my escape route.
Nelson for the three-pointer. Oh, Loggins! What a great backup by Leroy Loggins.
When I first played with Brisbane, we made the playoffs, and I got a real taste of Aussie basketball. I saw Adelaide play, and I thought, geez, I'd love to be a part of that team. I went to school in Fairmont, West Virginia, and the coach, Ken Richardson, his brother lived in Ohio somewhere, and he told Ken, you gotta check out this guy named Leroy Loggins, this skinny kid, he's really good. And that was a free rein for me to get to Adelaide.
Loggins still, all the way, bang.
There's no greater reward than holding that trophy up at the end of the year saying we collectively as a group achieved something.
And there's the ball game. Absolute elation. The first ever national championship win to the West Adelaide Acacia Bearcats.
I guess your first championship is always probably the sweetest, but also in saying that, Brisbane getting their first championship was even sweeter.
And the countdown, Ron Notley for the last throw, it is all over. Brisbane have won the final.
I love Brisbane. I love the people here. I love the basketball here. And that's what I really wanted to do, was be a young man growing up in an environment that I could grow in, and that's why I love Brisbane. Some of my best memories were just socializing with the fans. You know, them telling you how much they appreciate you and how much they love your attitude, that you come out on the court and you always give 110%. And of course, winning the championship for the city of Brisbane. The city chose me to be immortalized at Boondle. It was a radio show. They had a Who's Next to be immortalized, and it was me, and I'm very honored and proud.
Well, it's always one of the highlights of the seasons. All the stories celebrating Heritage Round thanks to Mitsubishi Motors. And right now, Dean Vickerman, he's going to be saying, fellas, how about we wind the clock back a week and start playing defense like we were a week ago? Because right now, we are locked horns at 57 apiece. And Melbourne United, whose identity has been defense, are not bringing it on that end right now. The Bullets having their way.
No, well, both teams shooting the ball exceptionally well, particularly from the three-point line, and the 8 of 16 is the standout. But I think this game is something that we've seen a bit from Melbourne United, particularly at home. For whatever reason, in the first half, it seems like they're prepared to go through the motion. Now, the difference has been at this halftime break, I know something's in the water, perhaps a little bit of advice from Dean Vickerman, but they were able to come out and just completely change the shape of it. Last weekend, they gave up 63 in the first half, so this is not an unusual set of circumstances, but they will have to pick it up on the defensive end if they're going to maintain an advantage.
We spoke pre-game about Rob Lowe, and you look at what he's bringing tonight. Continues to wind back the clock, having a career year, and yet again he's leading Melbourne United.
Well, the Hungry Jacks highlights tell the story. He got that early corner three, really got his rhythm going, and then a couple of possessions later, he's able to strike again. Now, he's been in really good form, Andrew. He's come along a long way early in this season from what he was doing offensively. He's provided offensive punch recently in the absence of JLA, who was an outstanding offensive player. But yet Melbourne United may be better than that team last season based on his newfound productivity on that end.
Yeah, it's also what you got to do at the other end, because Tyrell Harrison is having a really good game as well, 16 points. But have a look at the Blackmore shot chart, and it was only towards the end he missed a couple of those three balls, but he's been in some rare form and with a 14.6 of 10. I'm not sure that at the start of the season that Dean Vickerman was thinking he's going to get 25-point-plus games out of Rob Lowe.
I don't think Nostradamus would have got that one, but this man here, another man we spoke about, Casey Prather, continuing to wind back the clock. We spoke the last two games, very good, tracking nicely again.
Well, he's shooting the ball outstanding, and now that teams have seen him knock down three balls, he's able to put it on the deck and use his savvy to get buckets. If Melbourne United want to take control of this basketball game, it will start on the defensive end with limiting Casey Prather's impact.
Well, Perth and the Adelaide 36 is coming up as well. After this, it's a massive day of NBL action. Right now, locked on, 57 apiece, the second half up next.
Keep the pace. Pace is looking good for us. Subs! Hey! Good boy! Yes, sir! Go, Robbie!
Half time here at John Cain Arena. Marcus Lee is our Harvey Norman in the zone player this afternoon. 57 apiece. For those who are expecting to come to the game today or tune in and see a Melbourne United team run all over the 9th place Brisbane Bullets, so far it's been the complete opposite.
It has an outstanding productivity from the Brisbane Bullets starting 5. They've only got 2 bench points in this game, Andrew, but yet they are right there neck and neck with Melbourne United. Now, defensively is where Melbourne United get it done. We've seen them come out after half times and absolutely lock teams down and run away with games.
No, for sure. And it was a couple of weeks ago, Perth, I think, was it, Jack, that had 60 on them in the first half, and they able to make the appropriate adjustments. And Brisbane would be saying exactly the same thing. How can we get some more stops? Both teams have ticked the boxes offensively.
The Bullets are a pretty strong finishing team as well, despite their win-loss record. Their fourth quarter numbers are really strong. Now, that is still to come. Jack White drags that in. 5 rebounds in the opening half, but only 4 points. Dellavedova tees off. And Lowe picks up his second foul.
White, 24.
Apologies. That foul's on Tyrell Harrison, who picks up his second foul, I should say. Adelaide and Perth up next at the Adelaide Entertainment Centre. The return of Kendrick Davis this afternoon for the 36ers.
Well, they need it after a fairly lackluster performance up in Brisbane.
Well, they haven't had their players, though, Derek.
Well, still, it was a lackluster performance.
Well, still, but you need talent. Good underneath out of bounds set. Easy 2 at the other end of the floor.
Harrison has 16 points for Brisbane. Been dominant again after his form on Friday night against Adelaide. North from long range. A couple of misses to start the quarter. And retain the ball from the baseline. 17 on the shot clock.
And you saw on the other end, Prather wasn't able to get into that gap that he wanted. It led to a stunted possession and a stop for Melbourne United.
And we tally, that's the 3rd three-point field goal make for the contest for Matthew Dellavedova. But as an example of why Brisbane might be trying just to get a little bit more time to rest their starters, this Bateman comes off, that's too easy. In that first half, the bench points 24-2. So they were going to rely heavily on the offense with their starters, and down the other end, well, it's just way too easy.
Dean Vickerman wasn't happy with Rob Lowe playing drop defense on that last Bateman 3. Let's see what they do right here if they come to it. Now they're icing it.
Bateman has 13 points. Prather feet set for 3. Casey Prather winding the clock back.
Oh, belly. Little blood rush.
Melbourne had a couple of early buckets go their way, but Brisbane have settled all of a sudden. Harrison makes it 18 and the Bullets back in front.
Well, Jack, Justin Schuler has obviously determined that he is playing these 3 imports and they're going to ride or die with them. And it's working, Andrew.
Well, it is, and wow, that looked like a push-off, but instead, Shea Illy's going to work his way to the free throw line for the N1. But this has been, gee whiz, not a lot in that.
Shea does like to go to the left hand extended. We saw it in the Sydney Kings game where Brian Gorgon thought he was using it excessively, and may have been the case here again on the penetration.
Well, perhaps, but that's going to be Harrison's 3rd. So that's a big, big call to take someone who's got 18 points in the contest at 9 of 10 from the field. He's now going to spend a bit of time in this 3rd on the bench.
Milner back in. Prather to repeat the dose. Fouled in the act of shooting 3.
Black 15.
He's 6 of 9 for the game, and he's at the stripe to shoot 3 more.
Oh my, not a lot in that either.
Kyle Bowen has 4 fouls in 9 minutes.
And he's beside himself over at the Melbourne United bench, stomping around, thought about making the walk to the change room area, but composed himself, and I think that anger is probably not internally focused, Andrew. Very, very delicate call on that 3-point attempt.
Just heard Dean Vickerman say in the effects mic, I wish I still had my challenge.
Well,
He might have had a good claim on that one.
Bowen out of the game. Tanner Krebs starting in the absence of Chris Goulding, these last 2. Nice pass underneath. Lowe finds White.
Great pass. That's what the advantage of putting someone on the box that's a scorer. They play him tight, and with that size, he can just pass over the top of the defense. And he found White on a good cut to the basket.
And Andrew, we touched on it in the first half with Casey Prather now on 21 points with only 9 field goal attempts. And so I'm looking at this Melbourne United roster, and we know that Dean Vickerman likes to build his defense around the team scheme, but at some point it's nice to have a dog out there to go out there and take care of the best offensive player. So who's that guy? Again, who is it going to be for Melbourne United?
Well, usually it's a Chris Golding explosion, but he's not there. So, you know, Ian Clark was very, very effective in that first half, but I have a sense that Dean's being cautious with him. He missed the last game and perhaps limiting his minutes. But at some point in time, you've got to get your best players out there, and Ian Clark, based on that first half in this particular game, is one of them.
Mitch Norton, the smallest man on the court, with the offensive rebound. He's still going over the top of Rob Lowe.
Great second effort there from Mitch Norton to get Bullets 2 extra points. Build this lead out to 4.
17-5 on Friday. Slow to get going today. Great look for Krebs.
Wow.
Jack White's going to claim that.
I reckon Casey Prather might have had more of it than Jack White.
It all counts in the end. 2-point game. It's part of Heritage Round with thanks to Mitsubishi. DeAndre Cook. No good off the 3-ball. Bullets can reload. Cameron got a piece.
And Jack, you just feel the confidence of the Bullets, and especially Prather, Cook, and Bateman increasing as this game goes along. You come in some of these games against a team as great as Melbourne United, and there's a certain nervousness and apprehension about going out there and performing, but I think that's all gone, and these guys feel quite comfortable on the floor.
We've spoken about Chris Golding not being out there for Melbourne. You have mentioned earlier, of course, no Josh Bannon for Brisbane. Again today with an ankle issue. Turnover. Dengadell also going to be out for a few weeks with a broken hand.
Dengadell's only had the 5 games all season, and he was one that in the preseason we thought that he's going to be a major pickup, but unfortunately injuries kept him out.
He's going to be missing for a few weeks. Dellavedova ties it up. Nothing separating these two teams. The biggest lead for either team in this game has been 8. Dean Vickerman looked straight at the bench and said, I need a timeout.
He's seen enough and hasn't got the response out of that half-time break on the defensive end, and they continue just to keep ticking the scoreboard over. 60% from the field.
Now, Tangerine timeout. It's the Bullets who lead by 2 here, but coming up next, it's Adelaide playing host to the Wildcats, and John Casey is standing by.
The Adelaide 36ers and Perth Wildcats have a long and fierce rivalry that has boiled over in recent years, and with so much on the line here today, I'm expecting another fiery encounter. Star import Kendrick Davis makes his welcome return to the 36ers lineup, and his clash with the league's leading scorer Bryce Cotton is going to be worth the price of admission alone. Interestingly, this is the first NBL25 meeting between these two teams, and they're going to clash 4 times this season, so bragging rights are on the line. Another sellout crowd is expected here at the Adelaide Entertainment Centre, and we hope you can join us as well, straight after the clash between Melbourne and Brisbane.
Nicely done, Case. That is still to come. A great way to finish off round 11. That game up for grabs, but this one right here is very much up for grabs.
Very tight, and honestly, Drew, I didn't anticipate this level of competitiveness from the Brisbane Bullets.
Yeah, you're right. They got the win against Adelaide, but it wasn't one that sort of stood out as if they'd outside of a couple of good individual performances. Oh dear.
White scores off the lob. that play continues to be there for them.
Especially after a timeout, you have to expect that. You look at the Amy replay, it's one of their pet plays out of a timeout.
Just a go screen. No contact made, gets a run up, and when you've got a superior athlete like Jack White, that is a good option to go to.
Saw that on the Amy replay. Hasn't been his biggest game so far, Jack White. 9 points. Averaging best part of 14 for the season. Five minutes to play in the third quarter. Smith-Milner dribbled himself into some trouble. Dellavedova all up and in on Bateman. 4 on the shot clock. He found a way through. And he'll be shooting free throws.
Well, Matthew Dellavedova decided now is winning time, Drewy. He picked up his defensive intensity. Bateman was a mess with the basketball, and now we've got a tech foul on Dean Vickerman.
I said it's a bailout.
Well, he got a warning earlier in the game, Dean Vickerman.
I said bailout. That's a tech.
Dean, don't go
You
further.
think that's worthy of a tech?
Do not go any further.
Well, it's probably 1 for 1 now. They've neutralised themselves out as somewhat quick triggers on the tech.
Yeah, but that's what we did.
And you know what? Credit to Shannon Jennings, one of the inexperienced official out there this afternoon, not at all intimidated by Dean Vickerman. Gave him the warning, said enough, and then he got the tech.
As a young official, you have to let them know where you are positioned. And her position is, I'm only taking so much before you're about to meet Mr. T.
Well, if that's the standard we're going to have, I don't mind it, because clearly early on in the season, the behaviour we saw from some of the coaches was really over the top. But it's about, like it is with the players, being consistent, and that's it's an offensive foul call. It's a late call. But it's an offensive foul on Matthew Dellavedova. That's only his first.
Well, the tension has gone up significantly in the past couple of minutes. And Brisbane right now have to be able to withstand this increase in emotion from Melbourne United. Melbourne United are in these types of contests all the time.
At the moment, Prather, Harrison and Cook off the floor for Brisbane. So Justin Schuller has got some weapons at his disposal, but that's not helpful. An offensive foul on Norton.
Gee. Usually you see a player change direction. There's the handoff.
I just think that's nothing.
Two guys running into each other.
Tensions are high at John Cain Arena. Justin Schuller, as Brisbane coach, has never beaten Dean Vickerman and Melbourne United, a former assistant. He's got a fresh haircut for Sunday Hoops too.
And the Bullets have a real opportunity. Drew, we know what it's like when you're playing good basketball, as Melbourne United have been. These streaks and these great runs are not eternal. At some point you stumble, especially in an extremely competitive league. And right now, perhaps Brisbane have caught them at the right time. And if that is the case, Brisbane need to pounce.
Yeah, it is. And right in front of us, Tom Coppins in a very critical part of the game coming on. He's another player that hasn't seen a lot of time throughout the course of the season, Jack.
Dean Vickerman has shown that he'll give opportunity to those who we think are going to give effort in return. Tarkowski rolls to the basket. Offensive foul. Points won't count.
Well, this will be interesting to have a look at on the replay. Bateman does a good job of getting into the paint. Lee is out there. I believe that's an excellent call.
Yeah.
But also great agility and finish from Rocco.
Yeah, unfortunately, he ran over the top of Marcus Lee to get it and doesn't get a reward.
Little floater from Clark, unsuccessful. Second time around. Extends the lead for Melbourne, 77-74. And every time they've been challenged, Brisbane, they've been able to have a pretty quick response. This is no exception.
Cook wheeling and dealing off the high screen by Rocco. I thought he was going to throw it up. Good decision there, though. Pull up for the little jumper. Get the contact. Right there, Drew. I thought it was going to be on.
Well, it is, and it's so hard when you've got a free run at it. You'd see that they're in a drops. Marcus Lee was way off the ball. And when you can just get your guy on the back and get to your spot, that is hard to defend when you're trying to fight over the top of the screen. I think you need a little more help on the to meet him at the screen.
Clark steps into the three. Tarkowski takes care of the rebound. Melbourne have won their last 10 games when they score 90 points or more. They look headed to that mark again today. It's just a question of whether Brisbane can go all the way to the end with them. Illy into the corner for Krebs, who had the feet set.
Great hustle from
Nice
Cook.
work from Cook, but even better hustle from Illy.
They're the ones, if you're Brisbane, you've got to come up with that ball one way or another.
A double came for Smith-Milner, and now for Cook. Melbourne starting to ratchet up this D as we head to three-quarter time. Keandre Cook gets it to drop.
Keandre says, Jack, ratchet that. Knocks down a big-time three. Brisbane up one.
Did he actually say that?
No.
The lead pass finds its way eventually to Illy. As Dellavedova getting ready to come back in. Free throws to come for Melbourne. I said this about 3 minutes ago, but Brisbane have stayed with Prather and Harrison on the bench. Would you be tempted with a couple of minutes left in the quarter to get them back out there?
Well, I think so, mainly for Harrison, because he's got the 3 fouls, but you don't want to. He got that very early in the third, and you spend too much time, you start to stiffen up, you lose the feel of the game, even if it's just for a couple of minutes. Now, he's only got 3 fouls. It's not like he's got the 4. So
you know how this goes, though, Drew. Some coaches, you get 3 fouls in the third.
Well, I guess because the game's still tied up and it's in the balance, they're doing, hasn't been a noticeable drop-off with him on the bench, but just to keep him engaged in the game, I'd be getting him out there for a couple of minutes. The other thing is the rebound stats are quite, well, it might be just coincidental, but Brisbane have won each of their last 5 games and winning the rebound count, and they've lost each of their last 5 games when they're losing the rebound count, and right now it's all tied up, the rebound. So rebounding could become a factor in this one as well.
Well, the foul came against Brisbane, and then Tarkowski slammed the ball into the floor, and again, Shannon Jennings making the right call at the right time.
I like the way she handles her business, not accepting any tomfoolery from anybody.
No, I hear.
Oh,
but,
here we go.
No, but I don't think that he bounced the ball in disgust at the official. Or
You can't do it. I know, but we can't. They're not having that. Right here, Drew. You think that's acceptable?
Well, I don't think it's really trying to embarrass anyone. I think it's more frustrated at your team and at yourself. And we don't want necessarily to have robots running around here either, Derek.
Valid.
Lee with his back to the basket. Interesting little hook.
But you're right, you're not allowed to do it. It's technically correct.
Great take from Bateman, who scores and one.
And Jack, in the preseason, in their matchups between one another, Bateman and Illy really had the better of Bateman, but it's good to see Bateman learn quickly and understand where he can get to his spots against one of the premier defenders, if not the best perimeter defender in the competition. Keep in mind, Andrew, when Bateman scores 20 plus in a game, Brisbane are 4-0.
Getting the ball.
The other night was the only time they won a game without him scoring over 20 as Lee throws one down.
Well, he's got his 20, so that's a good omen for the Bullets.
And he wants the ball too, Jack. He's assertive.
20 points. Couldn't get that three away. Smith-Milner obliges.
But he does a great job in creating that opportunity. Kept his dribble alive when he didn't have the shot. The defense had shifted. He got the ball to Smith-Milner.
Another former Melbourne United player on the floor this afternoon. Big hit late in the quarter. Clark took it into the forest, but Melbourne will keep possession.
They're just pounding him on these middle on balls and looking for the rolls. There was a couple of half chances in both these. Jack White originally. There's Smith-Milner. That's what he can do. And that time just too much help by Lee.
Lethal off the inbound from the baseline, Melbourne. This time the play breaks down. White had the answer, couldn't score. Having that kind of day, Jack White. Smith-Milner catch and shoot, quick release three. He couldn't repeat the dose. Clark slicing his way through. White misses again. And the basket won't count off the putback.
The basket, light, White, 18.
White to the line.
And Jack White frustrated with himself, Andrew, that not only that he couldn't finish that one, but the previous possession went baseline on Prather. I thought he should have just gone up and flushed it.
Yeah, he was a little off balance, but hasn't had a lot of opportunities. He only had the 5 field goal attempts, 3 of 5 from the field in 21 minutes of court time.
White misses the extra. Clever from Dellavedova. Kept it alive. This time White able to score from underneath.
Third time lucky, Drew. Attacks the rim. And when you're that talented and athletic, you're not going to make too many mistakes.
13 points, as we said, not his biggest day, but finding a way to get involved late in the quarter. Shot clock and game clock almost as one.
It's going to be on Marcus Lee. As he switched, he just pushed. Smith-Milner, have a look. Gee. Wasn't a whole lot on it, but Smith-Milner caught one in the eye.
Nothing intentional or with malice. Jack White looked back at him once he realized what had happened.
You ever grown a beard, Derek?
Incapable, Jack. Have you not seen my head?
Just thought it might have grown on the face rather than the head.
That's some healthy growth there, Drew.
Yeah, that is.
I respect that.
Bullets back in front. Last play of the quarter. Illy flying upstairs. White with the rebound. Brisbane lead at 3/4 time. They have hung with Melbourne from the opening tip, and they have a 1-point lead with a quarter to play. It's 88-87. Big time Sunday hoops at John Cain Arena. Stick with us. We're going right the way to the end with thanks to Hungry Jacks.
18, Whitey. You have 18. Keep sitting in my way. Thank you. Good, boys. Blue. Oh.
Offensive foul.
There's our Harvey Norman in the zone this afternoon. Marcus Lee, we have got ourselves a game. 88-87 at three-quarter time. It's Brisbane who lead by 1.
Brisbane just doing a great job in hanging with Melbourne United, probably slightly outplaying them at the moment, Andrew.
Yeah. That's just Matthew Dellavedova getting to his spot, and gee, we've seen some offensive explosion. We just had a 30 to 31 point quarter, and a lot of that's from the free throw lines, but combined 50 free throws between these two teams.
It's funny how it changes. We had a little period for a couple of rounds where scoring was really down. The last 3 weeks, Drew, as you said.
Yeah.
Everyone's firing away.
They're prepping for the summer shootout.
Maybe.
100K on the line. Sure, a little something comes back to the players. You
Certainly does.
You throw some dollars in front of the players for a bit of incentive, but no, and it's just the pace of play as well. It's just all teams now wanting to fly it down the floor.
That's true.
Some do it better than others, of course.
And aside from your financial-centric view of how the game is being played at the moment, there were some injuries.
That is true. It's not the sole factor.
What about Robin Hood over here, sort of with your financial centric?
Robin Hood. I'm big called Peter Pan, but never Robin Hood.
Great to have Derek here for free this afternoon. Bateman trying his luck. 22 now for James Bateman.
Well, they're all coming off the on-ball screen. He doesn't need a lot of...
He's the best three-point shooter in the league.
He doesn't need a lot of time. He just comes off, and if you're not getting help from the screener, he's letting that fly. And like you say, he's really efficient.
Shooting the three at 48% for the season
Outrageous.
coming into today.
That is outrageous.
Prather has been equally as efficient. Back-to-back threes now for the visitors.
Prather 3 of 4 from the 3. Bateman 4 of 5 from the 3.
Silences this 9,000 strong crowd here at John Cain Arena. That'll make them a little happier.
A costly error there from Bateman to go out and foul Ely. Given the context of the game and how the momentum was shifting.
You know, Melbourne United haven't made a three-point basket in this second half. They were 8 of 16 at halftime, and now of 8 of 22.
Normally such an asset for them too, isn't it, their three-point shooting?
Well, that's right, and they're prepared to let it fly from the three-point line. They're third in the competition, but only by a blip at almost 32 three-point field goal attempts per game.
He makes the second. There's the Legends box this afternoon, Derek. That's the 1994 North Melbourne Giants team in the house as part of Heritage Round.
Paul Maley, Daryl Pierce, Rod Johnson, Paul Reese.
The days at the Glass House. Back in the day, just across the road from where we are today. Brisbane lead by 4. 5 wins, 7 losses for the season.
Wow.
That is special from Ian Clark.
He had to throw it up over Harrison, who was providing the help.
19 points on 7 of 12 from the field. Never wasteful. Bateman for 2 more.
And Andrew, we know Brisbane are shooting the ball exceptionally well today, but it's been off the back of really good offensive structure and decision making.
Wow. They are, and they're getting it both ways. They're knocking down the 3 ball at 10 of 21, but their penetration and the extra pass or the finish at the rim has been a standout. There's Michael Slopboy, former owner of the Melbourne Tigers. I think he's still involved with Melbourne United. He's donning the old, I think he had the DMAC Melbourne Tigers jersey on.
Jack White slowly built up his numbers, 16 points, 9 boards, a couple of assists. And we've seen throughout the course of this season, he's featured prominently in 4 quarters. Hit a big one last Sunday against Sydney.
Done it a couple of times this year against Sydney. Bateman in attack mode. Back out to Norton, 5 on the clock, drives and lays it up.
And that was against one of the better on-ball defenders in Matthew Dellavedova.
Norton's deceptively quick, strong attacking the rim.
He started the game pretty well, Rob Lowe. He's been a little quiet, but he's back with a vengeance now. 17
points. He's knocked down 3 threes. Drew, somebody's got to get some stops.
Harrison was met at the rim by Lowe.
Oh, wow.
Heavy contact from Bateman.
Heavy contact, but it looked like there was a legitimate play at the ball. There's players ahead of him.
Really?
Oh, maybe not on that angle. We're on the opposite side.
Description is the play we have in transition.
No, that has to be, that to me has got to be unsportsmanlike.
From the side, but he's in front initially. My assessment is he goes for the ball. Anybody else has a different assessment? No. The foul is on number 5. Foul. 5. 10.
Wow.
Regular foul.
Gee, that's surprising.
And Shea not feeling well. It just arisen from off the court.
Yeah, that was excessive contact.
I think it was the fact that the alleged play at the ball was very light.
Whistles everywhere right now. And foul on Isaac White for a bit of holding off the ball, but Shea coming to the bench just to try and catch his breath a little bit, perhaps.
Well, this could be a factor. It's 0-4 in the last quarter with the foul count. So every foul now against, defensive foul against Brisbane is going to result in free throws. Now, that might curtail some of the aggression, and that's just an excellent pass.
Melbourne hit the front, 102-100, with 6:18 to play. A 2-point lead for Melbourne United. 6 minutes and 18 seconds left. Ian Clark has 21 points. Matthew Dellavedova has 18. Bit of kiss cam.
Kiss cam going on.
Why are you so close to me all of a sudden? Get away from me.
Oh, this should be interesting.
Man.
You ever been on kiss cam, Drew?
No, I haven't. It's been going around for a while. You see some funny examples where the kiss cam hasn't quite worked out.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no, we've got a proposal.
Next level.
Well, we take a break for 1 minute, and you just never know what's going to happen next here in the NBL. We've just had a proposal in the timeout.
Drew, kiss cam went to "We're getting married." Congratulations to that lovely couple. Wow, the cojones on that young man.
That is, although there was we didn't see the full, there was just that momentary pause. But ultimately, I think it was the shock of the proposal. I wouldn't recommend it as the ideal way to go about it, but it was a very nice gesture.
He shoots, he scores. We're being told that's a staff member of Melbourne United. Keandre Cook with 2 more. Can't believe we just had a proposal.
Drew, I must admit, I'm feeling a little bit emotional watching that.
Yeah.
It hit the mark.
Well, you might go over there and you can give him some advice and help with the journey.
I think he would prefer advice from you rather than me, Andrew.
No, I think we all can help out, the experiences, all the highs and lows of it all. But what Melbourne United got to do, I can't believe this is the most I've seen teams being able to penetrate at both ends of the floor. Jack White misses one he's normally going to make, but usually it's a lot harder to get 2 feet into the paint against Melbourne United than what we've seen this afternoon.
Isaac White still out there, Smith Milner, Norton, Cook, and Harrison. Another 5 for Brisbane. Miscommunication. Flynn Cameron was ready and waiting. Can't cap it off. Dellavedova, White, low, Clark. And Cameron the 5 for Melbourne. White with a little dump off, and Norton the extra pass for Harrison. Great execution from the Bullets.
Amazing interior passing, Andrew, and Harrison finishes it with just great touch. He's now got 20 points on 10 of 11. Delhi let one fly from deep. He hasn't been shy about pulling early in possessions.
No, and he's built on the confidence. He's already knocked down a couple of 3 balls.
4 Brisbane players with 20 points in this game. Prather getting ready to come back in. Lee and Illy likewise for Melbourne United. Tyrell Harrison with 1 on the shot clock.
Heavy pull-up floater with the opposite hand. Brisbane up by 5. Drew, we rarely see opponents or visiting teams come in here and score over 90. Brisbane got 107 with 4 to go.
It's quite extraordinary, and the reason they've done it, they're shooting at 64% from the field, 47 from threes. They've just been able to make shots.
They only allow Melbourne an average of 87 points a game across the season. Brisbane have been able to find a way to score at will today. Rob Lowe, coast to coast for 1.
What about the pass from Rob Lowe?
What about the push from Rob Lowe on the left hand?
Well, they've given him a flop warning, so they thought it was a flop, but Rob Lowe, just his greatest Magic Johnson impersonation, comes down. That's a line ball, isn't it? There was a slight extension of the right arm, and instead he gets a flop warning. Maybe no call and play on. I don't know whether the flop warning was appropriate, because there was some contact.
Some holding off the ball on Clark.
That was needed, that transition bucket, because last 3 possessions, it seems like they're just trying to get this lead back quickly and blazing away from the 3-point line.
It's the anxiety that has been created, given Melbourne United believe they should be smoking this team.
Well,
and right now they're in a battle, and this is what happens, Drew.
Yeah.
You're trying to make up for lost time. Now you just got to focus on getting the W.
Bateman can't bank it home. Illy drives and lays it up with 1 to come.
And he goes down again, and he's going to go to the line for the and 1.
Well, Shea Illy was prominent in the victory Sunday against the Sydney Kings in the 4th quarter.
Come on,
Continue push on the dribble, getting the ball to the paint. You might disagree with this, Andrew, but the call's been made. There was contact there, and that's 5 fouls on Casey Prather. His afternoon is over.
Gee, I don't know about that one, Derek. I don't know what more you can expect, and as to I would have thought he is going to challenge it, because what do you expect Casey Prather to do? He's retreating with hands in the air, minimal contact. I think they're a very strong chance to come away with the win.
The call was a block.
He's retreating. Who initiates the contact, Derek? Shea Illy jumping in to Casey Prather.
This is going to be excruciatingly close for Bullets fans.
As a rule, these generally don't go well for the defender. These types of calls.
has to be successful on this one. But thank you, Scott Butler.
Good challenge from Justin Schuler. Casey Prather will stay in the game. It's 107-106. Let's get the explanation from Scott Butler.
Hey guys, so when you look at the baseline camera angle, you can see that Casey Prather does a really good job of sliding laterally and backwards. He does not propel forward. He just plays with his chest. Illy jumps into him. That's not a defensive foul. Because the basket goes in, we just wipe the foul. We start the ball from the baseline.
Well done, Scott. Perfectly assessed.
Perfectly analysed from you.
No, Derek Rucker.
Steph Baumgartner.
Thanks, Jack. I was just listening into Dean Vickerman for that timeout. He said we've got the advantage right now with Casey Prather on the bench to find pace wherever we can.
High drama on a Sunday afternoon. We wouldn't have it any other way. Keandre Cook dribbles to the corner.
Wow.
Big time knockdown.
Oh my goodness. He just went to his spot.
Realized there was freedom in the corner. Knocks down a big time running three ball.
23 points now for Cook. A wide open Ian Clark. Can't respond at the other end. Brisbane have got a look of determination about them. There's a scalp available if they can see it through. Prather knocks it down. Timeout Melbourne. Brisbane playing winning basketball.
Coach's challenge successful, leads to that catch and shoot three from Prather. Woo! Brisbane here to stay.
Well, they're getting it done from the three-point line, aren't they? Couple of big hits, 12 of 23. And that one was wide open. You can see what it means at this stage of the game. Pushes it out to a 7-point lead.
113-106. Let's take one last listen to Marcus Lee in the zone for Harvey Norman.
Bandits, okay. We're in 55 here. Points ball. Hey! 55! Hey! Hey!
Well. What a game this has been, and we're not done yet. 2:49 remaining out of this Tangerine timeout.
And it would be a massive win. Brisbane only have 2 road victories this season at Cairns and at Southeast Melbourne. But this Melbourne United team is a totally different level of opponent.
And this is not the way I thought that they would get the win. In a game where they're scoring 113, I thought if they were going to win this one, they'd perhaps have to slow it down a little bit. Gee, that's very easy by Harrison. And I suspect now that Brisbane Bullets, that they're going to try and run some clock off here. Maybe look for shots in that last 6 seconds.
Norton back out there running the point. Some big minutes from Isaac White off the bench. Dellavedova reaching in.
Now Delhi gets called for that foul, and Melbourne United still have a foul or two to give, and sometimes that can work in your favor, Andrew. You can be aggressive and take chances, take risks with your hands trying to get the ball back without being penalized for 2 shots.
Shot clock at single figures. Norton, nice find for Tyrell Harrison.
That guy's a problem, Drew. Tyrell Harrison, 12 of 13 from the field for 24 points.
They almost throw it away, Melbourne. Clark in rhythm.
Big shot.
Cuts it back to 4 with less than 2 minutes remaining. We told you we were going all the way to the end today.
They had a foul to give, so it was a good one because Rob Lowe was beating all ends up. She reaches across and sacrifices a foul to stop the certain two.
Free throws the rest of the way now for both teams. High volume of free throws across the afternoon. Cook levitates and banks at home. Keandre Cook has 25.
And he assessed it, summed it up beautifully, used the body control. Massive miss.
Brisbane have to be composed, but yet aggressive here. Don't go terminal, just trying to milk clock. Look to score.
4 of their 5 on the floor, Brisbane have 20 points or more in the game. Norton, unsuccessful. A minute to go. 6 points the difference. Clark steps out of bounds.
Tried to catch that one on the run. The rear foot catches the sideline, and we've got a timeout.
Well, Dean's burnt. That's his last timeout. I think he's burnt. And so he'll have no more. And that's a risk. But it's one that when you're 6 down, it's worth taking. He needs to set up some action to try and get a steal here. But certainly, worst case scenario, get a stop.
Andrew, Melbourne United could potentially give up 120+ points on their home court. Surely that must be a record.
Yeah, it's usually you don't see that from a Melbourne United team. We mentioned the Brisbane Bullets, they lead the league in points allowed to opponents. So it's something that they've needed to score, but 117. This is like the 48-minute era.
Well, the last time that Brisbane beat Melbourne, we said that it's 12 in a row they've lost. Ironically, it was here. As part of the COVID year, there was a registered crowd of 1 in that game.
Right.
The Brisbane Bullets won that game in round 8. Matt Hodson was Brisbane's leading scorer in that game with 21 points.
Well, Cook and Bateman both have 25. Harrison has 24, and Prather has 27. Amazing offensive push from those 4 guys. Tremendous performance.
That's a double dribble. A carry, I should say, from Prather. Take your pick.
I don't know whether it's by design, but I'm surprised it was Casey Prather that was given the ball carrying duties. Yeah.
The trap was set by Melbourne, and it works. Now it's their turn offensively. Delavan over to inbound from the baseline. White for 3. It's long. Illy can't keep it alive, and Prather comes up with it. He's got a problem, though, as he hits the floor. Possession arrow goes Melbourne's way.
They got a great look off that out of bounds. And Jack White, as we mentioned, has made big threes already this season. But not much lost. Only several seconds have elapsed off the clock, so they'll get a chance to crank it up again.
Yeah, right now, the primary target is going to be Ian Clark for the 3-ball, but don't ignore a quick 2 either. If it's a real quick 2, you still got 46 seconds.
Low from the corner. He can't score either. Illy commits a foul on Norton, and Brisbane walk the other end of the floor to extend their lead.
51.
Drew, they got a good look again.
Yeah. Rob Lowe's been knocking them down. It was a good play, good action to get Rob Lowe a look.
And give Brisbane credit. They've come in here. They're one of the best rebounding teams in the competition. They've won that battle today. And when it's mattered, neither team has been good defensively, but when it's mattered in this stretch, they've been able to come up with critical stops.
94% free throw shooter on the season coming into today.
Oh, dear.
Line up. One.
Takes care of the second. Dellavedova. White must knock this three down. Unsuccessful. Dellavedova wins it back. White again, got it that time. The twists and turns of this game have been outrageous.
And Justin Schuler will use one of his 2 remaining timeouts. Good move. But Melbourne United continue to scrap on their offensive end. They've had a number of good looks at it, Andrew.
They did, and finally Jack White knocks one down under pressure from the side from Casey Prathup. Gets that one to fall. Now, I don't think Justin Schuler's going to advance the ball because he doesn't want to take that. He wants to try and eat as much time off the clock as he can, and if he does that, he'll only get the 14 seconds. So he knows, though, that Melbourne United are going to foul. They'll have an initial setup to try and get a steal, but trailing by 4. Melbourne United don't have a lot of time to burn before they have to stop that clock.
I'm going, if I can't get a steal, presuming Brisbane elect to take it in the backcourt, if I don't get a steal off the first pass, I'm going immediate foul, Drew. There's just not enough time, and the way this game is progressing, I think they've got to maximize possession, not try and let that ball get out, because I think Brisbane's too confident now also with their ball handling and their passing.
Well, both these teams shoot it really well from the free throw line. They are going to advance the ball, and the only reason I can think of this is that there is a realization they're going to foul. So if you make an error here, a turnover, you've got a little bit more time to get your defensive transition and get a stop. But we've seen a lot of teams struggle with an inbound pass from this position.
Especially in this venue. It's like the Bermuda Triangle off the inbound.
That's a good result for Melbourne United. The one player out on the floor for Brisbane, even though he's a good free throw shooter, Andrew, if you had to pick anyone to shoot free throws, it's Tyrell Harrison from a Melbourne United perspective.
Well, statistically, Bateman was the man. He only shoots it at 59%, 72% for Tyrell Harrison. So he's a more than adequate free throw shooter. 70% on his career, 72% this season.
Got another impactful afternoon.
Gee, that looked a little flat. Didn't have the rhythm in that stroke, Derek.
It was punchy.
He handles his business on the second.
What
Melbourne with the fast play, but Cook saw it coming. United with a massive problem now.
That's just it was a set play for a quick one, but you've got to look up and see where the defense is. And even though you've got a set play, just throwing it without a recognition of where the defense was a bad decision by Lowe on that inbounds.
This is already the highest score in Melbourne United's history that an opposition has had on their floor.
Sensational performance by the Brisbane Bullets. And talk about timing, Drew. George Gervin here, the new owner.
Yeah.
You're going to get a double win weekend, and the Iceman.
No wonder he's smiling.
Very, very ecstatic with this Bullets performance here in Melbourne.
What a performance it has been. Justin Schuler, for the first time in his coaching career, will shake hands with Dean Vickerman as the winner.
Well done. 5 and 7, and early on in the season it looked pretty bleak. But they've been composed, they're stuck with it. They've got their 3 imports firing on all cylinders right now, which wasn't the case early on in the season. Some question marks about whether the fit was going to be right.
But he's committed to playing them now. He's not pulling them in and out. These guys are establishing a rhythm with one another, and it's been most evident right here when they needed it most.
Let's not forget they've done it without Josh Bannon, who's a big piece of what this team is about.
The Brisbane Bullets with the biggest scalp of the NBL25 season. They've won 3 of their last 4. All hope is not lost as Justin Schuler soaks in that winning feeling. The apprentice beats the master.
Perfect game plan from Justin Schuler with a quick turnaround. They win a game against Adelaide at home, travel down here to John Cain Arena, execute perfectly. Outstanding offensive productivity right there from our Foot Locker player of the game, Casey Prather. I'm lost for words, Drew.
Well, it's just the shooting was exceptional. 64% from the field, 12 of 24. But of those 12, the ones in the last quarter, some big plays when the scores were tight to give him that breathing space to knock it down. Well done by the Brisbane Bullets. Outstanding performance.
We're going to come back and wrap it up on the other side of this. A reminder, Adelaide and Perth not too far away as well, but it's the Bullets who get the win in Melbourne.